and Taihan.
All right.
All right, okay, we're going to do this. Sorry,
let's do it.
Threadripper, Core i9, 64 PCIe lanes. Everybody's a sucker for that, right? You
do
keep
it.
saying that, and they're like, oh, they're going to talk about that.
We are.
Okay. In this episode of the, I can't remember. In this episode of The Full Nerd, Core i9 versus Threadripper, RAID, $, NVIDIA Max Q, and what's behind the Radeon shortage. Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Full Nerd, episode 24, recorded on June 5th, 2017. I'm Gordon Maung with co-host Brad Charkis.
I'm supposed to be on vacation this week, but I'm so excited about this stuff. I came in just to talk about it.
He's so dedicated. Reviews editor, Elena Yee.
Hey, everybody.
And controlling the vertical and horizontal is Adam Patrick Murray.
Today's show brought to you by Brad's birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, my gosh.
Soon
really?
to be happy birthday.
Not today,
Brad.
no.
Oh,
But,
we can't
Adam
sing happy
doxing
birthday.
me on the
I was
internet.
going to
Yeah,
say happy
yeah.
doxing day.
Are you going to go to
Credit card.
Denny's? I understand you can get a free breakfast at Denny's if you go.
Oh, I went to Applebee's the other day, and I got like an ice cream with some chocolate on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
Okay.
Wasn't
sorry,
even my
Brad. I
birthday.
I had to say happy birthday. So
Thanks, dude.
So, okay, but before we lose everybody, because I know there's exciting stuff, Core i9, this is the reason why Brad came in on his day off, on his birthday almost. Core i9 Threadripper, RAID, $, well, I will explain what the hell that means. And for those people that are watching other live streams, I'm not going to say whose live stream. We are monitoring it in case of breaking news events happen, but we are not going to let you down like the other live stream where they're going to like not do anything exciting. I really don't believe that there will be anything exciting coming out of there. The excitement is right here. It's all on the PC. I'm going to kick it off. Core i9 Threadripper, which of course we can say now because Computex has passed, all the embargoes are lifted. 18 core i9 versus 16 core Threadripper. Bam!
So if I remember correctly, we took bets on pricing.
We did.
Yeah. Does anyone remember those
Right.
bets?
Yeah,
'Cause
I don't remember how much.
I should have
I'm
prepared.
sure we were wrong.
I think I went with 1100.
What, for Threadripper or for
No, for Core
i9?
i9
Core
we were
i9.
talking about. No. I can't remember anything, everybody.
All I
Threadripper.
know- all
I
I
think I
know-
went with 1100 for Threadripper. We still don't know pricing for that, I don't think.
Nope.
So that's still a mystery. So we don't have to eat any paper yet.
Yeah.
Not
We're
on
good.
Threadripper.
Well, we
My
didn't
stomach
make
is
any
safe
paper.
for the moment.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
should we? Like, I can't even.
But the
where
Core i9
the-
prices are kind of crazy, y'all.
They are nuts.
It's kind of crazy.
What's crazy, once Gordon gets into it, is that the 10-core part is $700 less than it was last year, which sucks if you bought one last year.
I'm trying to pull up the price list, which I think I have in a story, which I haven't finished reading.
Well, I mean,
yet, so.
I'd like to say that, I did at least say that the new one, the new high end, will slot in at 1750. So I think I was the closest in terms of Wheel of Fortune.
I was
rules.
around there. I think I was 1,700.
I think I said $1,000, right?
Yeah, you did.
But wait, let's see how.
But were we talking about Threadripper or were we talking about Core i9?
We were
at that
talking
point?
about Core i9.
We did
because-
both. We did both.
Man, I don't remember anything.
All right, so I
Gordon
actually
was saying
have.
if I would throw the gauntlet down with $1,000.
All right, let me see if I can do a preview on this because then I
That
can
was
look
some
at this
wishful
graphic.
thinking.
That was wishful thinking.
Well,
But I think I was right because isn't there $1,000?
There is a part that's $1,000, I think, but it's, not
the four
top.
four core, Core i9 is $1,000.
Yeah, there
Just
is
kidding.
just a lot of crazy stuff. That
Yeah,
we
it's
can,
really strange, the lineup. I mean, we're going to get to it as soon as Gordon has the
yeah,
chart
'cause
up, but
I'm not prepared.
here.
Carbonite sickness. Oh, you have it right there.
I think so. I think this is it.
But I think so. The interesting,
we
what I
go.
want to talk about is because look, check this out. I don't see
I got
that's
you
the-
covered. I got you covered. Look.
all right. That's nice. All right, I got this one's nice too. Look, check this out. So what? Let's kick this off.
Nobody
So-
can see this.
Nobody can see it because I haven't even run the story yet. But you go to PC World, you can read Mark Hockman's story that has the Intel price list. But 18 cores. That's the shocker, right? Because everybody expected the 12-core part at Computex. I mean, it was like the worst kept secret in the world. Intel said, "Bam! We're going to give you 6 more cores, 18 core, $2,000. No clock speeds disclosed. Then there's a 16 core part, $1,700. Then there's a 14 core part, and these are all Skylake X cores, $1,400. 12 core part. And these all have hyperthreading. $1,200 for that. It's like $100 like per core almost, right? The way I sort of like worked it out. Because
Well,
like
that's a huge discount compared to last year.
yeah, huge discount, right? Because 10 core Broadway 10 core was
That extra 2 cores cost you
$1,723.
$700.
So now it's down to clearly there is a Ryzen effect, as I think I heard an analyst call it. So
Nice.
$1,000 for that 10 core. 8 core. Now here's where we're really like it's like gets really competitive. 8 core Skylake X part, 3.6 base clock, 4.5 on turbo, and it is $600. And I will say this: you've never been able to get an 8 core Intel CPU for less than $1,000 before. That is a massive price cut, right? And that is clearly the Ryzen effect, or as we would call a price cut. It's the actual price cut. That
Sorry, I
people
need to
talk
break
about.
in with some breaking news. They're showing a Oculus or a HTC Vive next to a Mac Pro or a Mac iMac
What?
Wait,
on
They're actually putting
WWDC.
discrete graphics in there.
No,
Well, they have
They're
before.
showing an external enclosure with a RX 580
Oh.
that's ready for VR
So
content.
Thunderbolt 3.
Yeah.
So external.
Anyway, sorry.
That's it. They're not going to put one inside the.
I don't know.
damn thing?
I can't hear it, so I'm just going off what I'm
I
looking
turned
at.
on closed captions.
Yeah. Oh, good.
All right, let's just go back to the fun stuff, y'all.
Yeah, this is stuff you
Core
care
Wars.
about. What?
Back to the Core Wars.
The back to the core wars. I was thinking. Actually, now I remember we should have done like a Star Wars intro because it's just you need the scrolling words at the beginning of the episode. Dun 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 dun. Actually, how far can we go before Lucasfilm sues us though? Like, can you?
Yeah,
of the
too
music?
too late. I'm getting a call right now.
That's all you
I
can
should
do.
answer that.
But okay, it's keeping so 8 core. Damn, $600. That's like $400 off what it was before.
That is great. But does it beat
No, wait,
Ryzen?
There's still
Oh,
there's
still
still
more.
more.
There's still more.
Now these are
Oh,
actually
whoops.
these are announced parts. So then there's a 6 core part. 6 cores, hyperthreading, 3.5 base, 4 gigahertz on turbo. Oh damn! I just realized this from this chart. 389. Which is not bad, I guess, for Intel, right? No, actually, this is where it goes off the rails. For me, this is where Intel goes off the rails. And then that is the bottom end Skylake X part. 6 core, 3.5 base, 4 gigahertz turbo, 389. And then from there we get Kaby Lake X for people who don't know. So this is basically the Kaby Lake microarchitecture. And they are dropping these. So they are making a version that fits into the new socket. And there's a 4 core with hyper-threading part. Hyper-threading part CPU. $339, which is like, okay. That's like how much it costs if you bought the 1156 part. So there's like no price cut there. And then this gets crazier to me is like, oh, Core i5 part, 4 core, no hyper-threading.
Extreme Edition.
Extreme Edition, but this is 4 gigahertz base, 4.2 turbos, and that's 242, which is like now I'm just going to shift things over because I want to read off the AMD parts because it's just like for $242 I'm looking at 6 cores, 12 threads, right? Ryzen 5 1600X, and then against that 4 core with hyperthreading part, it's an 8 core with hyperthreading or SMT, right? 329, right? So you can get way more cores out of AMD. And then 1700X 8 core, basically it's like everything. I don't know. These prices they're a little weird to me.
Well, Intel still has the IPC advantage, right? And I mean,
yeah, and Skylake gets a
so
little
if
bit
you're looking to
more.
game, yeah, I mean, it's worth a little bit extra if
Right.
you're looking to game at 1080p, especially or whatever.
Right, and you're also for these parts there is a new feature. It's called Turbo Boost Max 2.0. Before they basically identified 1 core that is the best and that will overclock higher. Now they're identifying 2 cores. So this actually for lightly threaded tasks, which is mostly gaming, Photoshop, frankly, that doesn't push jack in far as core count. There's a lot of apps that they are going to be really buzzing along at really, really high clock speeds. So these parts actually should perform really well. And frankly, probably until we get to multi-threaded tasks, they will have an advantage over the Ryzen equivalent existing Ryzen parts.
Well,
Broadwell E beat Ryzen in pure
Yes.
performance.
Yes.
So to see this inch $400 down off the 8 core price is great to me. I mean, it's a little bit competitive. They're still more than Ryzen, but I'm glad to see Intel responding.
Yeah, I mean that is right. I mean, really, because they didn't. Everybody thought that they were going to cut prices months ago, but they didn't. So now this is their official price cut to match Ryzen.
Wait, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So the feature that you mentioned where they're now going to pick 2 cores where they
Right.
might boost, does that also apply, is that only Skylake X or does that also apply to Kaby Lake X?
As I understand, it's only Skylake X.
So then so what's the advantage then? This is the part I don't understand. Like, just like even ignoring Ryzen, what is the point of the Kaby Lake X parts if you can still get a K part on the smaller socket? Like,
Right.
why would you go to the bigger socket and pay that much more for the motherboard when it's what, like 16 PCIe lanes? So you're not really going to fully take advantage of all that.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, wait, that's
Because-
another topic, Brad. That's another
no,
one.
no, what KB
Oh.
Lake X specifically should not exist.
So weird.
Because it's confusing. Because one, like you're saying, it doesn't make any sense to spend more on a motherboard, right?
Right.
When you can already get the standard KB Lake. But on top of that, if you do get it, thinking, hey, I can upgrade in the future. If you get a KB Lake X part, a lot of the features in your X299 motherboard won't work. Like, it supports dual channel memory, not quad core. So
Right.
it has like exotic memory configurations that none of the other chips have.
There will be education for people, yes, because you put this in and you populate. You basically some of your memory will not work if you don't have it in the correct slots for a KB Lake X part. Whereas Skylake X, you get everything. Skylake X, all quad core, all quad channel. The KB Lake X parts are dual channel, and actually, that was a question I had at Computex. I asked a lot of motherboard vendors, a lot of people, and everybody's it's just a head scratcher. Somebody actually said that they think Intel's just making things that nobody wants. Another person had a good observation, which I agree with. Is just Intel said basically, look, this is our high end enthusiast platform, and these chips. Remember, all the parts, all the K parts that you're running in 1156, they have a graphics core. So the graphic, there is actually, and Intel didn't tell me this, but I was told by vendor that these Kaby Lake X parts actually they don't have a graphics core. These aren't just like we turned it off and the die's deactivated. This is actually like there's no actual graphics core. So they are sort of like newer dies in that way. And what they want to do, and a lot of the actual benchmark records were set with Kaby Lake X parts. So we already know Kaby Lake X, people are getting like, I've seen 5 gigahertz on water, right? So these parts, without a graphics, part, they should just overclock the hell out of. So I think Intel said this is our nod toward the overclocking sports. Those people who just want to overclock the hell out of chips. Kaby Lake X is probably going to overclock far more than what you're going to get out of a 18-core Skylake X, right? So
I think they would have been better as part of the standard KB Lake lineup because it sows way too much confusion into the X299 platform, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. Actually, I was saying like just cut it off at 6-core. Just make the 6-core part your entry level part, and cut it off there and just make it nothing but Skylake X. I'm not really sure what the hell this is, and the weird thing, of course, is the pricing. I mean, the pricing is you look at the 10-core and the 8-core. Okay, you're like getting somewhat competitive with AMD. I mean, $600. That's only $100 more than an 1800X part. And I can tell you that I'm almost certain that 8-core Skylake X is probably going to beat up that 1800X in a lot of things, right? Because it's higher clocks. But then you get to these lower end parts, is like there's like, what the hell would you even buy this for? I'm sorry, actually, I'm just looking over at the Apple keynote, and there's some kind of TIE fighter.
Yeah,
Like-
I was just about to say that they're using the Vive on an iMac that's either equipped with I think they announced 570, 580. It said Radeon Pro 560, 570, and 580. But yeah, the Industrial Light and Magic's doing something with Star Wars.
That makes
over there.
sense. Last week at Computex, Atlanta wrote it up. The Dell all-in-one that had a 580 in it, right?
Yeah, 580 and 8-core Ryzen, right? 1700 part?
I think it was
variety.
1600.
Crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, over on chat, Dr. Dinah says core and clock speed talk isn't super valuable without IPC talk. So please.
Well, basically, this is Skylake, so it's the Skylake. We already know Broadwell microarchitecture was faster than 1-to-1 than Ryzen, because Broadwell is about even, right? They're just saying, we're 1-to-1 with Broadwell. So Skylake is going to get a little more. So they're going to. If you were to run a Ryzen and you were to run a Skylake part at both of them 3 gigahertz, your Skylake X part will probably be 5% faster, maybe, right? So that's the whole thing of the instructions per clock. And Skylake X probably will run at a higher clock, right? Because I mean, this 10-core part, their turbo is 4.5, and I don't think
that's awfully damn fast.
That's awfully good, and that's not overclocked. And people are not getting those clocks out of Ryzen, and also on Intel, which is a plus. They do have per core overclocking. So in their defense, you're going to get better clock speeds out of Skylake X. So I think actually they probably, and no one knows because we haven't tested it yet, they got the advantage probably in most of the lightly threaded tasks. But then this is I did not realize this until I looked at my chart, but and this actually is a good segue to Threadripper. But on that 8-core, 16-thread Skylake X part,
this is the most bullcrap part. I think I know what you're talking about.
It has, yes. I thought that was. You get 28 PCIe lanes, right? So there's only 28 PCIe lanes. So people who don't know, the PCIe functionality is actually integrated into the CPU, and Intel has, for God knows what reason, decided to make the 8-core part to only give you 28 lanes, which back in the Gimpy, Broadwell, Haswell E days, you'd have to get down on that. Remember, you had like this is the good 6-core part with 40 lanes, and then you you can't afford it? We've got a 28-lane PCIe, which is like, because everybody did that, right? Because it was like $380 for that 28-lane one, but that's, and then just what would happen, you plug it in your motherboard and just some things would not work right. So,
and there's never been an Intel 8-core consumer part that didn't have 40 lanes.
Yes. So this is the first. So like we're gonna give you the 2 extra cores. We're gonna cut the price by $400, but we're gonna take some PCIe lanes away.
So, but why are they doing that?
Intel
price
is
segmentation.
Yeah, it's market segment. Because I've always suspected this is just simply they want to be able to sell it to you. Hey, you want more PCIe lanes because you want to run 5 NVMe drives? You need to buy 40 or the 40 for the 10-core part gives you 44 lanes of PCIe. The 8-core part is 28, which is a lot less. And of course, so
that's a lot less.
This is my segue to Threadripper, which there is only one part announced. It's been coming for a long time, but the big thing that came out of Computex is AMD saying we have 64 PCIe lanes, which is crazy.
That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like AMD just gives you more for your money, more cores.
What I'm
more
curious
PCIe.
to see is if you look at the Core i9 chips. So Intel's calling all the 10-core and above Core i9 chips.
Right.
The 10 cores had all expected announced, but all the new ones, the 12-core, 14, 16, 18, haven't. I'm curious to see where they wind up with PCIe lanes after all this.
Yeah, I know. I wonder if they're going to give you more, or I would suspect they'd all just be 44.
Yeah, me too.
They're certainly not going to give you less than that, but still, the only way to get 44 lanes is to pay $999 for the 10-core part. It's just like,
and that's the thing too with Threadripper. Didn't they say that the 64 lanes was like the entirety of Threadripper? It's not just that 16-core part.
Yeah, they said every single chip.
So everyone.
So that means
that's awesome.
So that means you probably can get all those lanes for a lot cheaper than you would.
Right.
Intel.
So you probably will be able to get. I mean, there's rumors of there being probably a 10 to 14, but I don't know. I sort of heard from them that there's like we don't have to compete on every single part, right? They could have a 16, they could have a 12, and that would be
have an 8. There you go.
Yeah, they could have an 8, right? Maybe they just have an 8 because you want 8 cores and you want it on the bigger socket with all the PCIe lanes, and they are also quad channel memory support, but 64 versus Intel's, doling out like, oh, we're gonna like, oh, you're only gonna get 28 because you didn't pay for it. So
I'm sorry, they're revealing something
on
the Mac stream. This looks like a iMac Pro.
Ooh, the mouse.
Oh,
an
it's actually
iMac
hardware?
Pro. Yeah, it looks like some hardware being revealed here.
Oh, but that looks like an iMac.
It looks the same, but listen, it's
an
not the
iMac.
same.
It looks
It's an
like
iMac Pro.
Oh no.
Is it Ryzen based? Because that is just something that would be like
Threadripper coming to the iMac Pro. Just kidding. Sorry, I just need to chime in there. It's all black.
1,000 rumor posts were born that day.
I gotta say it though, because
but
Can you imagine fitting a CPU that size into an iMac? I mean, like, come on, like.
I mean, it'd be great. You got all those PCIe lanes to work with on an iMac. Oh wait, no.
Oh, you mean the full? Because people don't know the Threadripper. It's huge. It's like this big.
It's like a freaking credit card.
Like if you hold it in your hand, it's like bam.
Did you actually see one at Computex?
I held it in my
personally?
hand.
Oh,
I
you
actually
did.
held
Okay,
one
that was your hand. Okay.
Yeah, that was actually that was somebody at AMD's hand. But
Oh, okay.
I later on I saw it again. But so like, sorry, we're just gonna give you the update. Look, they got cooling, so the air cooled. Oh, they have fans. It's cooled. So the new iMac has air cooling.
Confirmed.
Oh, it has memory slots. Oh, they're not going to screw you on that. I see
I see the memory slots.
Oh, but
yeah.
you know what? Those look like registered DIMMs. Those are like serious. Those are not just the stuff that we buy, the El Cheapo stuff. Those look like really expensive EC. Oh yeah, okay. 8-core Xeon.
Up to 8-core Xeon.
That's it.
Snooze. All
That's
right.
it. Up to
All
an
right.
8-core Xeon.
So
You could
Back
have
to the top-
a
oh, wait,
16-core
wait,
Threadripper,
10-core.
Oh, and they
Xeon.
have a 10-core. So what is
but
it?
it's still Xeon.
What I want to know though is so what are they?
18-core Xeon.
Okay, so they're
well,
basically
they would
doing.
have to do Xeons because Core i9 isn't going to be out till who knows when. They had no idea. Nobody ever said when that stuff's coming out.
But at least it means it's actually a LGA 2066.
Oh, Vega graphics.
Oh, hey. Okay, that's not bad.
But
That's not-
still, they're still missing the point. Sure, you can beef it up, but if you don't have a way to service it yourself or add extra things like your, multiple video cards or PCIe based things for professionals, then you're missing the point there. You can't do it all.
Well, they
off
said they're
Thunderbolt.
coming out with a whole new one next year, right? This is
Yeah.
like their stopgap emergency.
It's just- yeah.
Right.
Look at all the teraflops.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
I'm
think
still-
they just said we got to do so. I think Brad's right. They said Apple's going to look, hey, people actually still want to buy computers. They don't want to live in their tablet world. We got to do something. Just jam it into an iMac.
So
they're-
actually, do you know the real reason why Apple people are going to buy this?
Why?
Because this iMac comes in black.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a darker chassis, so all the Apple people are going to buy it because of that. So
It looks silver here. Yeah, see, look,
No, it's like
128 gigs of ECC RAM. So they're putting, that is a lot of hardware in an all-in-one. That thing is going to howl. I bet that's just going to
I'm
be
just
loud.
Gordon
wait-
getting an iMac. I can hear it in
yeah,
his voice.
Gordon iMac confirmed.
You know the crazy thing is
Oh, 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't wanna
That
use
Dell
Thunderbolt.
all-in-one with the Ryzen 8-core part and the 580 is probably going to be like, I don't know, 90% the performance of this iMac Pro, but, probably like, I don't know,
Half the
a
price?
third the price. So.
yeah. Let's see the pricing, but also, who wants to work on a Mac? I mean, nobody wants to work on a Mac.
Plenty of people.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I kind of think this is, yeah. What are these little boxes?
Gordon's excited.
Storage?
Those are storage.
All right, sorry, we got sidetracked. So that's the
I
big
want to get
news.
back to Threadripper.
Back to Threadripper.
You forgot the most important new announcement from Computex.
Which one was
Oh.
that? I
The
don't-
day after Intel announced their new Core i9 chips and the X299 platform, AMD came out and said, Threadripper, you can get it when it comes out on X399.
Oh, X399. Yes, because I sort of
They
got
just
it.
keep
Just going
Go
one,
ahead, Brad.
Going up one more
They just
number.
keep crapping all over the Intel. They did the same with the B350 boards. They just keep crapping, stealing Intel's thing and one-upping them.
But doesn't that feel a little bit like Coming to America there for people who don't remember? Remember that scene where you have McDowell's? Like, they got the Big Mac, we got the Big Mac. They got 2 all-beef patties with the sesame seed bun. We got 2 all-beef patties without the sesame seed bun, right? That's just... Because you remember that was like the whole thing is he stole the McDonald's operations manual and he was... Okay, I'm dating myself here. Eddie Murphy was a great comedian for people who don't know, you millennials.
iMac Pro starting at 5,000. Available in December.
5,000.
5,000. Starting at 5,000.
In September with an 18-core chip.
No, starting. So you'll get the
So-
10 core
No,
starting.
Didn't they say 8 core as their starting one?
No, I
and
think
the-
it was 10.
No, I
No,
think
was
they
it
said
8? Oh,
no, it was
okay.
8. I think that was the first
8 core starting
slide
at
they put up.
5,000.
Well, I mean, so the thing is, Intel's only announced basically clock speeds. Oh no, hell, they have not even set the clocks for the 12-core
Nope,
part.
they announced nothing. Well, that's what this. I'm super excited about all these Core War news that came out at Computex, but we're still kind of like wait and see, right?
Right.
Because Intel hasn't announced anything but core count and price, and AMD's only announced core count, PCIe lanes, and no price,
And memory
no
channels.
release dates on any of this stuff. I mean,
No.
it's super exciting, but it's still kind of.
I
a
mean,
tease, all of it.
can we assume that because they undercut with Ryzen that they're probably going to undercut at least Intel, right, on the higher end stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but
I think they. Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry, I have a little bit of a delay. You go ahead.
Go ahead, Brad. You're more important than me.
Well, they're going to have an even bigger IPC deficit with these, right? Compared from Ryzen to Broadwell E. So in theory, I would think they would definitely need to stay aggressive, and I would stick by I think the 16 thread one's going to be 1,000 to 1,200 per Threadripper.
Ooh.
Boy. I mean, that puts it right down against 16-core Threadripper against a 12-core Skylake X or Core i9 part, right? That seems pretty aggressive. I almost think it'll be $1,400. So it puts it up against the 14-core part, the i9 Core i9 7940X, 14 cores, $1,400. That'd probably be right. But I agree. Yeah, they are going to probably have an IPC advantage. They're probably going to have somewhat of a clock advantage. We sort of assume that. But I think part of the reason we don't actually know the clock speeds on these higher core count Core i9s is Intel doesn't know. They're still setting them. They're probably still saying, well, what can we really ship these in a reasonable quantity at? And then how can we do this without screwing up all of our Xeon sales? Because, note these iMacs are Xeon based. They are not Core i9 based. So I think they are very sensitive to not screwing up their pricing stack there. So
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the reason PCIe is so nerfed.
Yeah, I guess so, right? But still, I mean, the 10 core is 44 lanes. So and on this iMac, it probably doesn't matter. I don't think you're going to need all those PCIe lanes. But, man, although, sort of like when you're looking at these high thread count CPUs, I don't know if clock speed's going to matter that much. Because if you're really buying a 16-core or 18-core CPU, you really should be using workstation class applications. You really if you're buying a 16-core, 18-core CPU for gaming, you're just doing it for fun. You really don't need it, and it's a disadvantage. It's better to have a higher clock speed part. You don't really need 18 cores for gaming. The only time it would be an advantage is if you're gaming, running Premiere, you're running a renderer, and you'd be doing like 7 things at once. So super mega tasking. So, yeah, but man, 64 PCIe lanes at least. So they're not going to get you there. So your prediction is for what, $1,200? You're saying 1,200?
I think 1,000 to 1,200.
That's super aggressive.
Well, look at the 1700. The Ryzen 7 1700 was $300. It's $300 now compared to a quad core 7700K, which is $330. So
yeah,
that's twice the cores.
But they don't seem to care. Interestingly, Intel just is not spooked by the core counts because, I mean, for me, I would not. It's really hard to go for a quad core without hyperthreading for that price, for like an i5 part. Versus that Ryzen 5. It's just like 6-core, 12 threads versus 4-core, 4 threads. Just like,
I made that last mistake, a couple years ago in my personal build to get the 4-core without hyperthreading, and I'm like, nah, I'd never do that again. And especially now that Ryzen's out, yeah.
Right. Well, that's what most gamers do. Brad has that. You have that.
Yeah.
I think most gamers have the i5 parts because they don't want to pay the extra $75. So it's really weird because it's not competitive at the high end. And it's not competitive at the low end, but that middle section is, somewhat competitive. You're looking at $600 for that 8-core part. What's your guess on price, Elena?
For a Threadripper?
Yeah, for the 16-core.
I would probably say about $1,200, $1,300.
Yeah, makes sense. I think
They got to get a little aggressive, but I don't think they can afford to completely undercut themselves either.
Yeah, no, I think that's about the right price, right? So you can't get too crazy. Could they do it for $1,000? Is that are they devaluing the whole lineup if they do it for $1,000?
Well, they have actually been bringing down prices for the Ryzen series recently on both Amazon, Newegg, all the online retailers. All the Ryzen 7 chips, their prices have shifted down.
Is that just availability, though? Because, I mean, they were hard to get originally. I'm wondering if that's just...
No, motherboards were hard to get.
Right.
Fans were hard to get. Chips were easy to get. I always have them.
Easier. But I'm just wondering if now that everybody sort of built their system, so demand's a little bit lower, so then the prices are going to come down to entice more sales. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know if these are official AMD going to everybody and saying cut everything by $40.
Well, everybody is cutting it by the same amount.
Yeah.
So it strongly suggests that. It's not like that one where it's like, oh no, Intel's cutting things ahead of Ryzen when it was just a Micro Center discount. That's not the case here. You're consistently seeing prices fall. So it seems like they're making room. So I'm hoping for 1,000.
God, that's just. I mean, that CPU is so huge. You just want to have it just to like.
I mean, yeah, with a bigger CPU, you need bigger machines to make it, right? There's no way they can undercut the price. It just doesn't make sense. I still say $1,400.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 14. Yeah, for 16 core. Okay.
What about you,
Seems
Gordon?
about right. God, I sort of think, about 14 to $1,300. It seems like. It just seemed like they need to price it down a little bit lower. So
I bet high with Ryzen. You guys were asking this about Ryzen before it came out, and I said there's no way it's going to be less than $700. And then their top one came out at $500, so I'm not making that same mistake twice.
I guess I wouldn't. I would have guessed the lower price, except that Intel has already set pricing. And I will say the smack talk from AMD at Computex was like, they're like, look, like how the hell do you announce something where the only thing you know are how many cores it has, and what the price is. So that's the only thing you know is like you don't even know what the final clocks are going to be, but you're going to set the price. So they're like, it's a little. They think it's a little extreme,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think they got to be. Yeah, I think that 1,200, 16 core versus 12 core. Yeah.
On YouTube, Ruru2 says Threadripper will be $1,000 for 16 cores. That's his.
That's what I guess. That's what I guessed before Intel came out and said $2,000 for an 18 core chip. So I would have. That's what I actually did a guess originally, but I just think no, not Intel's does not want to play a price game here with AMD at the top end. So I think AMD is going to squeeze a little bit more money out of everybody too.
I mean, it only makes sense. Ryzen, the high end Ryzen 8 core is 500. Double that, $1,000. Right?
Yeah, right. You're getting twice as many.
Yeah.
Actually, and it is just two of them, right? So $500.
I think the new core chips. I think the 4-core chips don't make any sense, and they shouldn't be there. And it's silly that they're there. I think the 6, 8, and 10 core Intel chips look really strong, in my opinion. I mean, it'll depend when Threadripper comes out, but we'll see. And I think the higher stuff, they announced it too early. It feels weird.
Yeah. They said the ND will probably show off things like, hey, look, we're running, all these, we're running 4 GPUs by 16 Gen 3. Everything's running at 6 by 16. How does that work on that 8-core Intel part, right? Not going to happen. So that PCIe thing is kind of, does that kill it for you guys to like get gimped with that 28-lane PCIe configuration?
Yes.
That made me feel bitter. It did. That was my initial reaction looking over it. I'm like, what? They have never not had a 6 and 8 core chip without 40 PCIe lanes, and now they're just cutting it just cause, and it irritated me.
It's a very Apple move, right?
They they do things to keep people at the high to pay a little more money, and it has worked I guess it worked in the 6-core days, so they're doing it again.
I mean, but if you think about it, most people, right, who are just gaming, don't need more than 28.
No.
So
No, you don't. I mean,
somebody like me who needs, multiple capture cards and, things like that, like, need it.
I think what it is just that feeling of just getting burnt. Like, man, come on, just give me a break here, Intel.
It's like when you go to the grocery store and you're like, man, I need paper towels, and you go and it's still the same price on the shelf, but now you get like 10 less squares or sheets. That's what it feels like. And you're like, okay, you didn't raise the price on me, but you're still undercutting me on this. Dude.
They do that. There's a large.
That happened to my toilet paper, and now I get new toilet paper.
Whoa, it's horrible.
There's a large retailer which we didn't realize till one day. So we went to this. I don't want to say. There's a very large retail. It's very well known. It would be the first letter would be an M turned upside down. So we go there to buy some, my friends and I, my buddies, would go out, we go have a steak dinner, then we go shop at this large retailer at 1 o'clock in the morning. And my friend is like, he goes like, hey, I'm going to buy these chamois. This is a good price, right? And so he buys like, hey, these chamois are a good price for washing cars, guy thing. Gals do it too, but I don't know what's up with I don't know. We get back to his house. He's like, hey, what the And he gets the normal chamois that he bought at just whatever, a car auto store retailer, and it's this big, right? And the one he just bought is like 4 inches shorter on both sides. And that's how they made it cheaper, because you think it's the same thing, but it's actually they've actually have the SKU that actually has less. This is like, holy smokes, Intel is doing that. Like, okay, well, if you consumer, we're gonna sell it to you with fewer PCIe lanes, 28, and you buy this through Dell or HP, you get 44 lanes. We're gonna sell you the cheaper one, right? Well, this is a perfect segue. Speaking of getting burnt.
I'm sorry. We have some questions in the chat here. First, a comment. NBW Doughboy says the 7800X is stupid. The pricing is stupid. The low lanes is stupid. I think it's the worst priced chip out of the whole stack. So he's very, very upset.
That's the 18-core one, right?
No,
that's
6-core,
the
12.
6-core.
612, 3.5, 4 turbo, 28 lanes, quad channel memory for 3. But this is basically a drop-in price for the previous 6-core version, right? The not the 5820. Well, in the Haswell E days, it was the 58. Was it the 5860? I forget. God, who can keep track of those numbers? It's like
too many.
It's like fractions. Some of those Intel part numbers, right? But this is a drop-in for their 6-core with. Yeah, that's the exact same part. This is equivalent of a 5820 K part, and then in Haswell E.
So, and then Ivan does have a question. He says, is there any chance AMD will go on a core race with Intel and announce even more cores, 24, 32? Is it ever possible?
I think it's...
When will it end?
I don't know. See, I got to say, like, the one thing about Intel, this is the crazy thing about Intel and AMD, because I would have expected, okay, Intel's like, you're bringing it like the 12 core, right? And then the problem, of course, Intel would have been happy saying 12 cores. AMD said, no, 16. So Intel has to come back and they got to go 18, right? Mm-hmm. They've sort of reached the upper limit. I mean, that's beyond the upper limit of what a consumer could really use, I got to say. And I'm always been a huge promoter, and I love, high core count machines. But it's going to be pretty hard to justify a 24-core or 32-core CPU for a consumer in a year if this kind of keeps going, right? So Intel hits back with 18. AMD comes back and say, hey, we're going to give you a full Naples part, 32 cores, like in a year's time or something like that. Where do you go from there, right? Where are they going to be like 64-core consumer CPUs?
Well,
which would be awesome, but I really got the state of software, the state of games, state of applications. You
can run 3 virtual PCs and play games on those virtual PCs while streaming from 3 other dedicated virtual PCs.
Right.
Well, and actually, if anything, here might be a good tangible result. Doughboy also says maybe because of this that the min core counts will be pressed up higher. So then we'll stop seeing 4 cores and the min will be 6 or 8.
Right.
So then knowing in the future, then games will take advantage of more cores. So it's got to be pushed somewhere. So
right.
Maybe they use it to push
chicken and egg thing. And so now we now have the chicken finally. The egg did not want to come first. Now we have the chicken. So hopefully now the eggs will come. But I got to say, what?
I mean, if they're putting out a 4-core part as part of the enthusiast line, I don't know if they're really going to give up on that anytime soon. I'm just going to put that out there.
They need to.
I mean, I'm hoping for that
to.
world. Don't get me wrong. I'm hoping for that world where everything gets pushed up. But if they're still going for that 4-core part and they're like
being
big socket,
reasonable. But I
just saying.
I think the reason why is because, like, look, I think developers will go like, hey, look, now, 8 cores are basically like everybody you can have 8 core CPUs are just like everybody will have, right? So now we'll finally support it, maybe
because everybody buys $300 processors.
Well, hell, you can get this all-in-one Dell, right? That is consumers. They go and say, "Oh, this one's got 8 cores. This one's got 4 cores." Consumers don't know, right? My washing machine does steam cleaning. I've never used that.
Really?
When I bought that washing machine, I said, got steam cleaning. It must be better, right? Don't need it. It does steam cleaning. Never used it. I don't even know what it does.
Steam cleans.
It does,
obviously.
I guess. But okay, why don't I just use water? Because I already put the thing in here already.
Well, technically, steam is water in
a
different form. I mean,
But I mean, consumers don't know. The average person going to Dell or HP or Apple's website is like, oh, I got to have this iMac Pro now. It's got 18 cores. So I think they think it's better. It is better, but the software's not there. But I think the thing is, it's going to it'll take 3 years for software to ever catch up. It feels like 3 years from now, maybe you'll get like, oh wow, we're getting more applications that use more cores. But that's 3 years from now. In the meantime, you could just go out and buy your Core i5 with no hyper-threading and be fine, right? So
True.
I think those are still pretty sweet gaming processors. The Core i5, Kaby Lake stuff, man, they go really fast and they can still do a lot. But I think between these Core Wars now coming to the PC and the fact that all the consoles have 8 core parts in them, I think it's really starting to look like we might push past 4 in the next couple of years finally.
yes,
And not to mention the new iMacs and the new MacBook Pros are getting Kaby Lake as well. So
Oh, was that the other news?
Yeah. that
Oh
was-
boy.
Yeah. Woo.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
I bet I gotta say, Brad, how long have we been saying that though? How long has everybody been saying 8-core consoles? It's gonna be right around the corner for there to be a multi-core support in CPU in on the PC gaming. It's like it has not shown up yet, has it? I mean, it just has not.
Well, Intel's owned CPUs, right, for like a decade. FX wasn't super competitive except for at the budget end. And
Right.
Intel really, really wants those quad-core parts to be priced where they're at. Like even when they pulled out the octa-core, the 5960X or whatever, it was $1,000. But now we actually have price competitiveness in multi-cores, so
yeah, so maybe, right?
yeah. Fingers crossed at least.
And maybe the Xbox with the new Pro one or whatever will have they'll switch to Ryzen instead of keeping Jaguar cores, huh?
Oh yeah, is that?
No,
what
they
is
already said they're keeping
No,
Jaguar
they're
cores.
set for now.
I know, yeah.
You buy it in fall, you're getting Jaguar.
No, the big announcement next week. I'm just kidding. No.
They've already said they're keeping Jaguar cores.
Yeah.
They're not going to Ryzen.
Is it just for cost? I mean,
Well, I mean, moving to a new architecture would be difficult with the backwards compatibility as well.
Yeah.
and
so.
production too. I mean, if they're
Mhm.
planning to launch holiday, they have to be ready in production now.
right, that's true. And plus, I mean, also keeping the price down. I'm sure AMD's not going to give away the goods with its best core for the same price as a Jaguar core.
That
so.
means the next Xbox Pro will have Threadripper.
Has Sony announced an upgrade to the PS4 Pro?
No.
Man, that just came out.
Remember, you're on console timeline here.
Oh, console
timeline.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, let's move on.
Anyway, as it turns out, the Kaby Lake X parts aren't the only interesting thing about the core lineup, right, Gordon?
Yes, that's the other thing.
Segue.
So this is our segue to
Oh,
the
good
next
segue.
topic.
Good one.
The main one is if you're pissed off about the 28 PCIe lane GIMP, this one will make you. Well, this is specifically aimed at you from Intel, which is I had not even heard of this feature on consumer motherboards, but it's called VROC and it's Intel Virtual RAID on CPU, and it's basically software RAID, and it's actually kind of cool because what you can do on your X299 board is take 4 or 8 or whatever, up to 20 NVMe PCIe drives and run them in RAID. So you can run them all in RAID, and it'll be bootable. So you can basically create, a bootable Windows partition with, 8 NVMe drives, which is the one demo that I saw at ASUS's booth. So
That's majorly badass. There has to be a catch.
is there a catch?
No way. There's no way.
There's no. Yes.
Besides the price.
Yes. Now this is the most insane thing ever, and I mean, it was just everybody was just kind of like laughing, like this is just nothing but a Captain Picard, pump with the face, right? So VROC is like awesome. Oh, this is great, but one, it doesn't work if you have Kaby Lake X. So you gotta if you're gonna go to the store when Skylake X comes out or when X29, it's like, okay, I'm ready, man. I couldn't afford it, so I bought the Kaby Lake X, but I'm ready to do 4 NVMe drives in RAID. And you're like, oh, that's not gonna work. You got to return that Kaby Lake part. Get a Skylake X. It's like, okay, I'm going to the store. Returned it. It's like they took, 10% restocking fee. I got burnt there, but I got my 6-core. I bought the 8-core Skylake X, only 28 lanes PCIe because I can't afford the 44.
Oh.
And I'm ready to run my 4 NVMe drives in RAID and be like, okay, I got my 4 Samsung 960 Pro drives ready to go. Oh, sir, sorry, you can't do that with Samsung 960 Pro drives. Intel VRock only supports Intel SSDs, right? It's like, okay, go back to store, take my 960 Pros, I return them. This time they took a 15% restocking fee because they thought I was scamming them. But I got the Intel drives. I'm ready to go, right?
Nice.
Yeah, so then,
Ready.
of course, it's like, oh, yeah, sir, but you're going to go like, it's 4 drives. I'm not going to run RAID 0. That's insane.
Yeah, who does
I
that?
want to run RAID 5 because I
Yeah.
don't want to lose data,
Of
right?
course.
If one of them fails, yeah.
I mean, you've got 4. You might
Yeah,
as well.
sir, you got to buy the special Intel dongle key to enable RAID 5. Oh, no, wait. No, that's right. Okay, RAID 5, I think. So,
Yeah.
They'll cut you Wouldn't there different pricing on those or something like
Yeah,
that?
so I don't know because I have not heard from Intel yet exactly what it is. I need to ask them, but it's like the motherboard vendors don't even know. But so the rumor at Computex was like they had heard. So if you want to be able to build a bootable array, it's $99 for RAIDs and then if you want to run RAID 5 or RAID 10, it's $299. So like RAID 0, I think was $99, and there
What a
was actually a
deal.
lot of
What a
conflicting
deal.
information. I heard RAID 0 was free and you only needed this, but no one really knew. So, but it's insane.
It's like a free-to-play game, but with hardware.
Hardware DLC, man.
We'll start you with RAID 0, but if you want to upgrade to like RAID 5, you're going to have to
Yeah,
pay
because you
extra.
you're right. It's free to play. It's a free to play model.
It's pay to win. Pay to win on
And I do it.
NVMe drives.
And you know what? You don't necessarily win if you pay all that money.
No, you don't.
But you got to have the good stuff. But yeah, I don't know what they're thinking here. I mean, other people have done this. NVIDIA's done this, haven't they? No?
With what? I don't know.
he's like, no, this
That's
makes
just
I'm
no
just sitting here
sense.
still processing all this stuff. Man.
That's just shaking
Hardware
his head.
DLC.
All right, so let's just break that down. Does not work with KB Lake X. You got to have Skylake X. So that means a minimum of a $389 CPU. And you also must have Intel SSDs. And if you want exotic or more reliable forms of RAID, at least $99, possibly $299 for the Intel VRock feature. But it's pretty cool.
And there's no in between. It's either 99 or like either 100 or 300.
I don't
That's
know.
it.
See, the thing is, one vendor thought it was just going to be 99, and then another vendor was like, they were hearing that it was like RAID 0 for 99, and then $299 for RAID 5.
Whew.
So nobody knows. So clearly, this
It's
is
not even
something.
free to play.
And this is, by the way, this is a feature that has existed on Xeon apparently, or is going to be on Xeon, where they have this key. They want to make sure you want to run high forms of RAID. You got to pay for it. I understand that because enterprise people, they got all that money. Charge them, right? But for consumers, it just is not going to work, I think.
This is them protecting Xeons again, it feels like to me.
Right.
And it
Ugh.
hurts. There's so many gotchas
Ugh.
with all these. Like, I'm super pumped to see Intel throwing all these cores at things now, but there's so many gotchas with this lineup.
Because they got to protect their higher and higher margin parts, right? I mean, because then what AMD is going to do is like, we'll give you RAID for free, right? RAID 85. No such thing. We made it up. Give you for free.
It's yours.
It's yours. 64 PCIe lanes. RAID 100. It didn't even exist until we made it up. It's going to be free.
Oh,
So I don't know.
yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Wow.
Yep.
So would anybody do it? Would you pay for it? I
No.
mean, assuming RAID 0 is free, would you really do a 4-drive NVMe drive with RAID 0, or is that just too hanging it out there?
Kind of
for you?
risky.
RAID, you'd want at a minimum RAID. Oh, RAID 1. Oh, that's it. RAID 0 is free. Oh my God. Now I remember. Because it's all coming back to me now.
It's all coming
Computex
back.
is tough, right? Because
It's all
that is
coming
like
back.
Oh, man.
RAID 0 is free. RAID 1 is 99.
Oh, my.
RAID 5, $299. That's
Oh my
the
goodness.
configuration I heard. This has not been confirmed with Intel, but this is what people were saying at Computex.
Oh, wow.
And then everybody was just kind of like, this.
Valdonis is asking, are there going to be different, or are there different? Is there a different dongle for each price point?
Yeah, because RAID 1, 99, and then RAID 5, if true, $299. So, which is that's just crazy because that's sort of like a free feature previously in motherboards. So I don't know. And I have a picture of it in my story, but it's just this little tiny, secure dongle. I think
What happens when you lose that? I mean, I've had to work with dongles for like security on
it's in the header on the motherboard. So
Oh, okay.
you're not gonna, because I worked at a company and there was a dongle for the laser printer that somebody stole, and it was like a $5,000 like key.
Really?
Like, yes. And they were like, "That key, we can't print to this laser printer. We need that dongle. It's $5,000."
They can be expensive.
Wow, that's a really discreet up yours.
Yeah.
Right. It's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty classic.
What happens? But what happens if you maybe your dog shook your PC or something, the dongle fell out or broke or something like
What
that?
is your dog doing?
I don't know. I don't
How
have dogs.
big is
Dogs
it?
are dumb. Whatever. I'm a cat person. That's why. But
Because your dog will save your life. What's your cat gonna do? Your cat's gonna watch you bleed to death.
Yeah,
Eat your
that's
corpse.
Eat your
that's
body.
fine. Yeah.
Well, so is your dog.
it's the process of life. So yeah, what happens when it breaks? Say you have it in RAID 5, and the dongle breaks or something like that. What is it? Does it pop up on the screen being like, "I'm sorry, you can't do this"? Like what? What would
I don't
it do?
know.
Or is it like you need to contact support, or does it bump you down? It just immediately wipes the whole thing for security.
Punitive.
Yeah.
I would think if your dongle if it popped out because you were upgrading your machine, I think the partition would not work. It just wouldn't boot.
It just wouldn't boot.
It would just be like, "Hey, RAID 5 not enabled to you. Go out and buy." Yeah, like it's gonna flash a big dollar sign on the screen.
Feed us your money. Feed us your money.
Yeah. So what Intel should do is give you a square reader. Like it should like new Core i9 comes with square reader, kind of like. Yes, but no.
If you want to
really
enable
dumb.
new features, just slide your card here.
This has been tried with. Now, Intel actually tried this at one point. Now, this is crazy. I mean, at the time, people were up in arms too, but they tried this with the CPU. They sold it at, I think, Best Buy. And it was like, hey, if you want more cache, you basically pay for it, and then we'll enable more cache or hyperthreading or something like that. And of course, they really did. They actually sold a product like that where you could buy a card.
Oh my gosh. It's
And you
the
could
airline
upgrade it.
model.
Not just
Hardware
DLC,
buy.
but on disc DLC.
Yeah, and they just give it a shot. Of course, everybody's like, no, we're not doing this. But I got to say though, would you like if you could go out and I've been told by analysts that the actual cost of the die doesn't matter. So if you can go out and you can buy your CPU, Intel CPU, and you start off with a quad core, and you're like in 4 years when everything is, because we live in a magic universe now where everybody's got, multi-threaded games, and you would enable 10 cores, and you just say, hey, $400, we'll enable 4 more cores. Isn't that better than having to open the thing up and pull the processor out and replace it and all that stuff? Or, oh my God, my motherboard's not compatible. Is that
That's
$400.
not going to happen.
I know.
is
But
that
also,
better?
$400 would buy you something new.
Yes,
that
that's true.
probably would be better, especially if these price wars and core wars keep going on.
I can get 128 PCIe lanes from AMD Intel. I'm not going to pay for this. Yeah, but don't you think that has some appeal to some consumers where
I mean, some consumers, but I don't think it's enough for
Yeah.
it to make it worth everyone's while.
so you wouldn't do it. You would not do the, hey, I'm buying a 20 core CPU, only 6 of them are unlocked and I can pay as I want for more threads.
Actually, the better case I think is for hyperthreading. Like I said, I messed up and I didn't get hyperthreading, and now I'm like, oh man, I would totally pay because I made a mistake
Yeah.
to unlock the hyperthreading.
So that's
How
appealing
much?
to you.
How
I don't
much
know.
would you pay?
I don't know how much. I mean, it's Intel, so who knows? But
What have the prices got? You should barter for it then, like online.
I'll give you 2 chickens.
No, you go and it's like, yeah, that's a lot. I'm walking off the lot right now.
Oh,
And tell her, whoa. What's it going to take to get you into this 10 core CPU?
actually, so yeah, it's Ready Player One says cores as a service model for sure. Ruru2 on YouTube says subscription service to keep your cores unlocked. That's the next step. That's the next step.
This is a dark path we're treading.
Same with your RAID. Imagine they're like, hey, we heard your feedback. We no longer have a dongle system, but your system needs to always authenticate with a server before it can boot. So you always have to be online with the feature.
You didn't pay this month, so we're going to crank you back to like, I don't know, 500 megahertz in one core.
Man, that would never work given the U.S.'s infrastructure for internet. Man.
Hey, they do that for games now, though. You know,
We'll
if
still
you're not...
offer older PCs for people who want to PC on a nuclear submarine.
Yep.
That's what Don Mitchell said about the Xbox One.
Right?
People were complaining about it being always online. He's like, well, if you're on a nuclear submarine, just buy an old Xbox 360.
There is a precedent for it that we should watch out.
That's how they lost this round of the console wars.
That's a good excuse. I'm going to have to use that. That actually happened to me, though.
You were on a nuclear sub?
No, I was flying to Computex, and I was like, well, I need to activate this product. Like, well, I've got internet. United, I paid $29.99. And by the way, this is crazy.
Like
so, like, it was $29.99 for whatever, 12 hours. But if I had waited 6 hours, it would have been like, I don't know, $10. Because for like the whole unlimited time, it actually gets less as there's. Because like on the way back, unlimited was $24. It's like, how come it's $24? And I got to say that United Wi-Fi, it's worth like $3 because that's about all I got out of it because it just kept cutting out. It was horrible.
Three seems pretty high from what you said.
I couldn't. I was trying to activate a service and it's like, oh, we'll text you the unlock code. I was like, how do I get that? And I have a client where I can get my text messages in my phone, but they weren't coming through. So I was like, I couldn't activate this product. I was just jammed up. It's like, okay, this just sucks. So that whole nuclear submarine thing that applies.
But sorry, the core count on your laptop just went down to 2 cores until we can authenticate further.
It starts at 2, so you just went down to 1.
But you don't. So somewhere in a tower, someone's like, "Hey, that's a good idea."
Yeah, crap. We need to delete this episode now.
Yes. We heard it from Adam, so we're now going to actually crank stuff, turn things off.
Yeah. Whoops. Crap.
Yeah. Okay. So nobody's into that business model then, huh?
No.
For your RAID or for your cores. PCIe lanes. What would it be cool if Intel says we'll give you 44, but you give us 50 more bucks? No?
Why wouldn't they just give you the part?
The PCIe.
That's a problem with you damn enthusiasts. You want everything for free, right?
All right. We should move on.
What's the next topic here? Because
Max-Q.
Max-Q, yes.
Yeah. Awesome, good stuff.
I have to get reminders here because my brain is just still not functioning. So Max-Q was the other thing. That was NVIDIA thing. Computex is nothing but about the PC. And so Max-Q is a little bit of... I'm not even trying to explain the actual what Max-Q is. I think it's like a 1980s Max Headroom kind of character. They said it was some kind of NASA aeronautics engineering thing, but I'm not going to explain that. What it is they are... designing a GPU for super thin laptops that if you have the proper amount of cooling, you can get GTX 1080 graphics performance in a laptop that you could previously only probably get a 1060 in.
What does proper amount of cooling mean?
Well, it just means it has to support the cooling. And actually, the more cynical explanation for what NVIDIA has done is they've basically figured out a way to crank 1080 performance up. You can get 1080 performance, but for 20 less watts than they could before. So that's sort of like, so it might have been, 130 watt TDP parts. Now it might be 90 watts or something like that. So they're basically
these are bin chips, right?
So one cynical explanation I heard. I asked NVIDIA, so are these just bin chips? No, they're not bin chips. They said no, it's not. These are basically, really well designed. When we combine good cooling with these chips, software stuff, and then also sort of like energy savings, we can give you 1080 performance in a laptop that I saw this Asus one. It was the RX 505, I think. It was a 5-pound laptop with a 1080, which is incredible because I've not seen 1080 class graphics in anything that weighed less than like 10 pounds almost. So
it was a 501. I made that mistake on YouTube. I titled it 505. Yeah.
RX 501 is Zephyrus.
Yeah.
Zephyrus. And it's really cool because this Asus laptop, they had it set up so when you open the screen up, the entire bottom plate would pop open. So and then
it was pretty cool.
And they had a couple of intakes, and they would suck air in the side. It was actually really.
Also, side note.
So you'd open the lid, and the bottom of it would lift up cyborg or something. That
and we've seen designs where the lid itself will lift up the chassis, but this is actually literally like the entire bottom of the laptop opening up.
Badass.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool.
So, side note, I saw in one of your videos, off to the side, they had that big water cooling thing that you plug a laptop into.
Oh, yes.
Did
yes.
they have that there? I thought that was killed.
That was not. I didn't see that on display. Really, was it?
I thought that was. I could have swore I saw it in one of the videos. It was sitting off to the side.
So that was actually because that's become sort of a joke because that was Nvidia's not Nvidia, Asus's water cooled laptop.
Yeah.
Killer concept. Seems like it'd be tough to pull off. I don't know if it was ever sold, but the last time I talked to Asus, I was like, yeah, we're actually selling it now. Because every time I meet with them, I'll say, are you selling those things?
Yeah.
Like, because I heard like you sold 0, but there's like, yeah, we're actually selling them now. But
Yeah, a little weird.
I don't know who's actually buying them. But this is an air-cooled laptop that is as thick as probably Elena's work laptop.
Hey.
But it has a 1080 class graphics.
So
So
and-
way better than my laptop.
way better than your work laptop.
And you
there.
think air cooled is enough, or they obviously they do, but
So I heard it. I saw the demo in a quieter room, and the noise is not insane, and it was supposedly running at 1080. I have also heard rumors because I haven't seen the part itself, but I heard it's not quite 1080. So it might be 5-10% slower. But come on,
That's
we're looking at a laptop this thick. That is, it was like 3/4 of an inch thick with 1080 class graphics, which is like I've never seen before. So
That's the amusing part to me. This technology looks really cool. Actually, I really dig it. But it's amusing to me that last year they're like, hey, now we can shove a whole full 1080 in the laptop, and you won't need to cut it down anymore. Cut it back. No more dialing back. Then this year, the big announcement's Max Q, and it's like, okay, we'll dial it back just a little bit. So it's just ironic to me.
yeah, but I mean, so the practical upshot is like, so a brand new design like the RX 501 is a new design, sort of made to house the TDP of that 1080 part. But if it's an existing laptop, there was, the MSI's GS63 VR, which is, in its day, a fantastic laptop, super thin. And when it came out, we were crying because you're getting GTX 1060 performance out of
It wasn't even
something
that long
thin.
ago. It was like October.
Well, that's forever ago, right? So basically, that same laptop, there's probably a little bit of mods to it. They're running GTX 1070 graphics, which, at the time when the GS63 VR was new, 1070, you really had to have a big, thick 8 to 10 pound gaming laptop to run. So now you're running that same amount of performance almost down to a 1060 chassis, which is like it's really a leap forward, I think. So
Yeah, I mean that's basically the same size as what your Dell XPS 15s, like
Yeah.
your work,
yeah,
your
just a little bit
work-oriented
bigger.
Ultrabooks.
And the thing is, they didn't. So they have a 1060, 1070, 1080. I saw 1070 based laptops with the Max Q technology, 1080 with the Asus, and they didn't show off any 1060s. But if you think about it, that 1060 will be really interesting because if you take a 1060 part and you're able to shave a significant amount of TDP off of that part, what can you get that into? And I sort of wanted to know, could you get 1060? No, the XPS 15 is smaller than the GS63 VR, but I want to know, could you get that into that was like a 1050 class. Could you get 1060 into an XPS 15 and say, it's a little bit much. They really sort of think you can get 1060 into laptops where you're seeing 1050 Ti parts right now. So
Damn.
yeah, because there was Asus actually announced a 1050 Ti based laptop that looked like basically as thick as a MacBook Pro 15. So, it's like, wow, that's that. And you're getting 1060 class graphics and something that small. It's like, damn, right? That's VR. That's everything. And
something you can one hand.
in one hand, yeah. So that's very impressive. As much as I don't quite the Max Q thing is a little strange to explain to people, but it's an aeronautical.
It's not a concrete technology, right? It's not like something that you can say, hey, this is a G-Sync monitor. You need to put this chip in, and then your stuff will run smooth. This Max Q, it sounds like it's a more complex endeavor where they have to work close with laptop manufacturers and kind of design the whole thing with them.
Right. Works with GeForce Experience. So there's power, GeForce Experience, there's cooling. So there definitely is work because you are pushing some of these laptops to the very envelope of what they can handle as far as heat goes. But it's like, damn, it's like everything sort of notches down almost if you can do it. But again, I think a good example is that GS63 VR, which is like 1060 in October. Now you're getting near 1070
1080 now.
performance. 1070. 1080 would be awesome, but I don't think it.
How far
can
line
handle it.
how far down the line do you think this will go? Like, do you think we'll start seeing 1050s in like your ultrabook class laptops?
I gotta imagine they're gonna. I mean,
That'd be kind of
they
rad.
haven't they have not announced anything, but yeah, why not apply this to lower end GPUs, right? So yeah, you can get a 1050 Ti, which is like damn near 970M graphics, right? So which a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, 970M was like rocking. You had a real gaming laptop if you had a 970M. So
What's in the base of a Surface Book?
that is a tops out at
960.
965, I think 965M.
Yep.
But they're connected through like a by 2 Gen 3 connection. Doesn't seem to affect it too much. But it pretty much Surface Book runs flat out with the previous XPS 15. So 960M versus 965. They're just about even in the Surface Book. So, but yeah, I mean, God, you think about it. You're putting, if you can get a 1050 Ti into something smaller, thinner,
Yeah.
you can get real gaming.
It's funny because, like you were saying, like a year ago, this is the first time ever in my life I actually, with the new GTX 10 series parts, basically, this is the first time in my life that I ever considered getting a gaming laptop. I still haven't bought one. I'm kind of shopping around, don't have any money. Yeah, but it's the first time that you can get them in laptop form factors that make it compelling, not these giant beasts. And this pushes it down that much further. It's crazy how far gaming laptops have come in just a year.
Right.
It's pretty insane. But that name is dumb as hell.
Zephyrus?
It's an aeronautical engineering thing about something like they design it for the maximum stress of air. Okay, I don't understand. Way beyond me. But yes, it does sound like a max headroom. I think you should just call it max headroom, right? That just might work a little better. Well, I'm sorry. I just glanced down at the Apple keynote. Nobody cares. It's iOS. So, all right. Do we have any questions about Max-Q? Except
Nope.
it's exciting stuff. Nobody.
Well, actually, one random question. Ruru2 asks, did Razer bring another 3-monitor laptop to Computex?
I didn't see Razer there. I mean, honestly, there was so much happening off the show that I didn't get a chance to really walk the floor.
I
but
didn't see any news.
I didn't see any news out of them. So
Okay.
I think has that even been sold yet? I know it's
No.
it looked cool. Yeah. Got to give the Razer to sort of like go for the high end there.
Yeah.
Should we get to the last one?
Speaking of high end.
Speaking of high end,
No, I'm
good
just kidding.
segue?
No, not a good segue.
No. Actually, speaking of mysteries.
Speaking of high
Speaking
end,
of
you still can't buy Radeon Vega.
yeah.
Segue.
Yeah. Oh, you can get that in the new iMac Pro though, right?
Yep.
What the hell is that?
They say in December the new iMac Pro will have
There you
Vega.
go. Vega's coming out. Here, good segue. At Computex, they said that they would be teasing more Radeon RX Vega, the consumer version, at Computex, and basically all the new info was it'll come out at SIGGRAPH at the end of July.
Wah,
So-
wah.
Okay.
That was
They
the
also-
sound
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
in the AMD subreddit.
So
Oh,
catch
man,
me up
the
on
AMD
that.
subreddit was burning down. That place was interesting.
Were people
I was up till like midnight just reading the AMD subreddit. Just interesting place.
Yeah. I don't think people were. I love it now. Not that I got any joy out of this because I didn't have a chance, but I love to I will say as a Warriors fan, yesterday I was at the Cleveland Plain Dealers website to read the fan reaction. So
Oh boy.
we got 2 more to go. Let's not screw it up like last year. Not going to jinx it. But so was Vegas supposed to be shown off at Computex? I wasn't.
Well, the thing is, earlier this year, at their analyst day, they showed off. They said, "Hey, Vega will be out by the end of June, right?" And then at the analyst day, they showed off the Vega Frontier Edition, which is the first Vega graphics card. It's coming out June 27th. It is not for gamers whatsoever. They keep pushing it's for visual designers, et cetera, and how expensive it's going to be. You go on and wait for Vega. So just a couple days after that, they had Raja Koduri, the head of Radeon, had Ask Me Anything on the AMD subreddit. And people asked him about that. I mean, when's Vega coming? He's like, don't worry, we'll show more at Computex. Then they came to Computex. They showed Vega RX graphics cards, so the consumer graphics cards, using 2 of them to run Prey at 4K, which can comfortably run on a single GTX 1080.
And
They
1070.
didn't show any frame rate counter, so you have no idea how well it was running. And then they said, we'll show more. Well, it'll be launched at the SIGGRAPH conference in July, which the SIGGRAPH conference, I looked it up after, starts July 30th. So it's like the very end of July.
Yeah, and that was running Crossfire mode, right? So that's supposedly on a Threadripper. So
Yep.
I did not see that machine, honestly, at the thing. It was boxed up and whisked off before anybody could actually take a look inside of it. So just everybody was disappointed.
Yeah, the wait for Vega continues. A lot of people are unhappy. A lot of consumers. It makes sense. I mean, a lot of people think HBM is the, constraining factor here. And with them putting out the new Radeon Instinct stuff and this Frontier Edition, if they can only get X amount of HBM2, it makes way more sense as a company for them to sell it for as much money as they can get in these professional applications. But the crowds are getting restless.
But why not just, like NVIDIA does, they have an HBM2 version that's, ultra expensive. And then they have like a GDDR5 Plus version. Why doesn't AMD pursue that same strategy? Because HBM2, I can't imagine being cheap.
They might. No, they haven't officially announced Radeon RX Vega, so who knows? They might. But it seems like they've bet a lot on HBM so far.
Yeah.
So.
And that seems to have bit them before. The Fury X was, one card in the world, it felt like almost.
Yeah, the Fury X, the first gen HBM, was short supply for months and months and months, and it was limited to 4 gigabytes of RAM because it was HBM1. So there wasn't much reason to buy. I mean, there were specialty reasons to buy it, but it was very niche.
So this is like a Carmen Sandiego thing at this point? Like, where in the world is Radeon Vega? Or is it where's Waldo?
Both. Why not? It's the same for the Radeon card you can actually buy right now, too. Right now, not only can you not buy Vega, you can't buy the RX 570, or RX 580 either. They're new 500 series cards. They are out of stock or selling for like $500 elsewhere. Because remember a few years ago, Radeon cards dried up pretty hard because of Bitcoin mining, Litecoin mining. There's a new mining cryptocurrency called Ethereum that was built to resist the specialized hardware that Bitcoin and whatnot had since moved on, and specifically worked better with graphics cards. So everybody mining those is buying up the Radeon cards left and right, and you can't buy them. So right now, if you want to buy a Radeon card, you can't buy anything more powerful than the $100 RX 560.
Yikes.
We actually have a couple people in chat saying it was actually Apple who bought up all those AMD cards. They're announcing Radeon and Vega left and right on their stream. So,
So are these
good for AMD because they probably charged Apple a bunch.
Is this true? I mean, are these just rumors? Because they sound like convenient cover stories for lack of supply.
The people, CompuBase, I believe Danish site, asked around at Computex, and all the vendors were telling them it's the miners. You can find plenty of pictures online of people going into Micro Center and whatnot and buying like 20, buying them out of graphics cards, which is what miners do. And if you look at the price of Ethereum, it's gone from about $20 at the beginning of March to over $220 now. Whew. So it's surging, and it reacts. You mine that very, very well with Radeon cards. So
more so than GeForce.
Always, yeah, because Radeon's better at compute tasks.
God, you would think Intel would actually build in specialized hardware as an instruction set or something into a future CPU.
Well, mostly for the most part, most of these cryptocurrencies have moved on. They have specialized ASIC hardware, which people build specifically for the task. But this particular Ethereum was built to resist those. So it's built to not be taken over by people who can afford these specialized giant ASIC farms.
What? I don't want, who the hell does that? I mean, I could see did AMD write that? Because I mean, why would you want to create a special kind of cryptocurrency that you could not run on a card to be more productive?
Well, a problem with I'm no cryptocurrency expert. Let's start with that. But a problem with a bunch of the existing ones is that when you start getting into ASIC hardware, they're really expensive. So the control of the cryptocurrency is collected into a handful of major organizations who have all this ASIC hardware. And cryptocurrency is based entirely on trust. So having it kind of centralized is against the point. So.
Yeah, You would just think that they'd want to make it so you'd run it on just general purpose hardware, so you'd run it on a CPU more so than anything. But I guess they think GPUs are more available to people.
Yeah, they're just better at it, and you can't buy any Radeon cards right now. But that really hurts in the wake of Vega not coming out until the very end of July. And Lisa Su just said it'll be launched at the end of July. There's no news whether it'll be paper launch, hard launch, when it'll actually be available. Hopefully it's not like the Fury X where there's only like 10 of them available. But then that came out, and then all the RX 570s and 580s were disappearing right around the same time. And there are a lot of unhappy people who are looking to buy Radeon graphics cards.
Wow.
So, Brad, is there any overlap between those two groups, or is it just in general the whole of the AMD fan base has nothing right now? Like, I'm thinking that someone who wants Vega is not necessarily the same person who's looking to buy an RX 580.
Yeah, that's true. It depends. I mean, if you're saying I'm not going to wait 2 more months for Vega, I need a graphics card now. I've been waiting for Vega for months already because they showed it at CES. You might just get a RX 580 for now because you have a FreeSync monitor and you can resell it in a couple of months.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So, it's a
I
bummer.
noticed that the sales had started drying up because there was that like period for a while where I was constantly sending you links for, RX 480, like, hey, it's super cheap right now. And now it's like, nope.
Wow. I wonder if people are cranking up their old 290X cards for that, because I mean
They are. I've seen reports of people selling a 290X for over $300.
good Lord.
Jeez.
Maybe it's time for me to sell some of my old parts, y'all.
Those 290X cards, you crank those fans up to for they're just
It gets nice and warm.
the noise will drive you insane. So that's
White
crazy.
noise.
But yeah, if you have a 480 or a 580, 470, 570, check out things online. I mean, you might be able to sell it for a profit over what you paid for it and switch it out with a GeForce card and end up with some money in
You
your
know what's
pocket.
even better, Brad, is if you work in an office, you just crank it up at work. They don't know what you're doing. We tried that at my last job. I was like, we're going to do this at work and make the company pay for it. That was the joke. But like, you could just like run a rack of machines at work and they don't know.
So, thought would be, hey, this is actually good for AMD. They're selling out all their stock, right? But is this good for AMD that they're actually selling through on everything?
Well, they're selling everything that they can. So, yeah, I mean, that's good in pure dollars and cents. But on the flip side, that has to hurt brand awareness in some way. If, these are Bitcoin miners are in it for cold, hey, I'm in it for efficiency, as opposed to people who are looking to buy cards and get into gaming and be vocal about gaming and whatnot. I mean, and if you go buy a Radeon card right now and see that they're $200 options, $500 if you can find it, I mean, that all kind of hurts. But I'm sure they're happy selling them. I know motherboard vendors are starting to get into specialized Bitcoin or Ethereum cryptocurrency mining motherboards yet again, which they did during the height of the Bitcoin craze too. ASRock just showed off a cryptocurrency motherboard with all kinds of GPU slots in them.
Huh. Weird.
Crazy. I've seen some of them where they'll have the cards will overhang. They're built right, so they overhang the machine. And they just run the flexible PCIe cables to as many PCIe lanes as they can get. I tell you one thing though, you won't be running those on a 28-lane Intel. Actually, you could because you don't need a by 16 connection for that. But wouldn't that be funny? You'd be like, you couldn't run enough.
You got a funny comment here in YouTube that I laughed, gave a little chuckle. Para Diob, I don't know, says Vega is taking a long time because they're working with a developer on a new game called Prey. Yeah, so
well, they showed that off. All right, do we have any more questions that we need to burn through before we?
Yeah, well, one last question. I know you wanted to kind of touch on this a little bit. It doesn't really fit into this segment, but whatever. We'll get in there. Did Creative Labs release that new thing yet from Jam Future?
I don't know. Honestly, I will have to check with Creative to see what's going on.
Okay.
I did see a cool feature. It was on a Gigabyte motherboard, and they had a Creative 720. I'd never heard of it before, so I need to catch up with Creative. But Let me ask you: do you think it's cheating? So, you run your game audio through it, and it analyzes the position of where something is, and it shows you where it is on a little radar plot device.
Oh, that's cool.
Of course, ASUS has had this in their sonar part, but as explained to me by Gigabyte, this new feature is running on external hardware or running outside, so it doesn't get picked up as a cheat by some of the engines. Some of the engines will consider sonar radar style hacks to be cheating, and apparently they're sort of like they've moved this so you can't even detect it, which sounds like they are very much aware that it's being used to cheat. Yeah, because it would it had a game and they had a little monster, and you could see where the monster was based on the sounds it was making, because the positional audio, if you know how to reverse engineer that to figure out where it is, you can tell a person where something is coming from. So
that's pretty cool technology, but that's totally going to get you banned in games at some point, I think.
Not if they can't detect it. Which sounds like, wait a minute, that does sound like they're aware that it is being detected as a cheat, so they're making it so it's undetectable because it's outside the hardware loop or something like that. I don't know.
Feels like one of those gray market sellers.
That sounds super cool for single player games, though.
Do you remember? So ASUS has this in their monitors, which of course other people do as well now. But it used to be where you could create a reticle on the screen and you could move the reticle. So it was hard coded into the UI, like when you on your monitor when you pull up the change contrast and brightness, it was part of that UI. So it was completely undetectable by any game. So then you could have a virtual reticle on the screen for the games with hardcore modes, where you're not supposed to have a reticle to aim, right?
I used to play Xbox when Gears of War first came out, the Xbox 360. I used to play that a bunch. I had a big old projection, 50-something inch screen, the big fat ones before, flat screens with the rage. And I used to play that pretty competitively online. And I actually took tape and put tape marks in the very center of my screen so I could pop people from behind cover without.
Oh, nice.
That's
cool.
cheating, bro.
That's totally cheating. Yeah, my kill to death
Brad the
ratio was
cheater.
awesome.
But not detectable.
Not detectable. So yeah. So was it cheating? If no one can detect your cheating, is it cheating? Is the question, right? Oh, wait a minute. Did we ask that coil wine question last time? I think we did, right?
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. I have another question. I think This is from Matt Z.
Well, let's blow through it quick.
Just listen to your latest podcast. Excellent, as usual. Thanks. Expect a check in the mail. Just kidding. There won't be no check in the mail. You guys implied that air coolers are obsolete. I did specifically. And that everyone should be using CLCs. I read stories about motherboards and graphics cards getting destroyed by leaky all-in-one coolers. How unreliable are CLCs? How prone are they to leakage? I have a big, beefy Noctua air cooler right now. Do you think it would be good for me to buy a good, high-quality CLC next time I do a new build? What do you think are the best CLCs? I generally, basically, they're all made by Ace Tech these days because lawsuit. But I've never seen a CLC leak onto any hardware. And I was actually surprised because I was the one who sort of bagged on air coolers because my experience with CLCs is they're just easier to deal with because you can pull them off. You're not cutting your hand on the damn metal on them. I just prefer it these days for builds because it's just easier. I've never seen one break. Certainly, there are more reliability issues because, you know, there's a pump, there's a cooler, there's more moving parts. You plug it in the wrong place. You don't run the pump. Not great. But generally, I've never had a problem with it. And I honestly don't know where all this leaky stuff is. I mean, and plus the amount of liquid in all-in-ones is like, it's almost nothing. So I've just never seen them leak. And honestly, is it urban legend? Is this just something... The air cooler guys are spreading because they want you to still buy their stuff. I do agree that air coolers are less prone to any problems because there's no pump, there's no water. But if you're also taking that box and you're going to your friend's house or shipping it somewhere, having a 55-pound cooler is a problem on some motherboards and in some cases, as I've seen directly in the past. So I personally like CLCs. You can get to your RAM, you can get to the CPU easier, but, you know, coolers, if you're into it, I guess it's okay. So I don't know.
It's okay.
I want to see proof. I still want to see proof. To me, I think I've moved on from air coolers. Air coolers were awesome in their day, but generally for me, it goes, you know, stock cooler, which is free, you know, to Hyper 212 because it's damn near free. From there, it goes all the way to a CLC because I have a hard time paying $85 for a work of art that looks beautiful, but really doesn't cool better than a CLC. So
the high-end ones are super effective though. Like if you get into those Noctuas, you get into the cryo rigs, they're getting damn close to closed loop coolers.
They can be. I mean, some of the lower end CLCs, yeah. I mean, but you can get these big fat CLCs now that are, almost as effective as custom water cooling.
And twice as much as an air cooler.
And yeah, twice as much as an air cooler. But I can get to the RAM, believe me, and it ain't no fun pulling a cooler off to get to the RAM. So I don't know.
I agree with everything you're saying. I think all of the problems and solutions you've talked about so far, shipping it, getting to the RAM, et cetera, is something that only 10% of people ever bother with once they make a PC. It'll just go on their desk and it'll sit there. And the high-end air coolers are very effective for $80-$90, whereas you can get an entry-level CLC for $100, going up to $150 for some of the fancier ones. So I think I like air coolers. I like the way they look too. I'm a sucker for the aesthetics.
And I got to say, one thing about air coolers is they can be quieter, right? So like the silent machines I've seen, they prefer air coolers because it's funny. You would think a CLC would be quieter, but they generally are not quieter because you're forcing all that air through those little funky rads, and they're generally noisier. So that does have a plus. But at the same time, what the hell? Have you guys ever seen one leak all over the place? I have not.
No, opposite actually. There was a time where I think you left it in your car too long, and then I tried to use it for a build, and then it was just like nothing happening.
I know, yeah.
I think it dried out.
I think
that plastic tubing or whatever.
Yeah, there's nothing in there left. So
they're super reliable. I mean, reliability isn't a concern for me. At this point, they've been around for 5 years too. And you would think if an initial worry was that they wouldn't last forever. But at this point, we haven't seen a rash of the early ones dying or anything. So hearing about them leak are super rare. Reliability isn't a concern in my opinion.
Right. And custom is a little different because you're building it yourself. And you know, I've seen those leak all over the place too. And we've never blown anything up doing that. So the argument, though, is like after 2 years, all that spongy water is going to absorb enough minerals that it will break something. But I don't know. To me, I've not seen that either. So
you don't use distilled water?
Well, you use distilled water, and I don't know. But the thing is, you're going to be leaching materials out of the radiator itself, which is copper, and I don't know. I'd like to see proof of this. I mean, maybe I just got to go search for images of people blowing their systems up, but.
Well, it makes sense, right? You would think, hey, water and computers don't mix. And so if you see a picture of that, it'll stick in your head more than, whatever. But they really don't leak that often.
Yeah.
And they have killer warranties typically, too, to protect you in case any of that stuff happened, because that is a conception that people have.
Yeah. I just find it's so much work. I mean, to get underneath those coolers. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old school, because maybe the mounting systems are better now.
Sometimes, though, with CLCs, if you're doing like a small form factor build, getting the tubes into the right position so it's not going all over the place while you're trying to mount it, can be a pain in the butt, too.
Yeah, and that's true. If you're building a small form factor box, air cooler is actually preferred.
It's a lot easier to get it in and out.
Yeah, true. That is true.
I think it just boils down to what's your situation and what's your budget.
Yes, there is no such thing as one size fits all. So pick what works for you. All right. I think we are going to be out of here.
I've got one last question.
All right.
Thank you for everyone in the chat for commenting. We love you guys. Dr. Dinah says he wants an autographed Gordon Ma-Ung mouse pad. What are the chances?
Ooh.
Man, where do you get a mouse pad?
Listen, buddy, they didn't even give me a autographed Gordon Ma-Ung mouse pad.
Yeah, you'll get yours after we get ours.
Yeah, but so I would autograph it, and it would turn out that this person is just scamming me, and they're going to scan it, and then it'll be placed on a forged check, and then
that's how they get you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Brad was already doxxed today, so we're just going to try to protect you.
There's something to be said for celebrity signing stuff. Because I'm just like, oh my God, why am I not whenever I meet some executives hey, can you sign this? And we should just have them sign something and give it away. And it's like it rises. You could have the whole Threadripper team sign a Threadripper because there's
you've got the room.
500 square inches of. Okay.
That'd be great.
All right. I'm going to take us out then.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So check back in 2 weeks for your Fix a PC Talk on the Full Nerd. For audio listeners, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. Send questions and comments. You just heard us read one on the Full Nerd at PCWorld.com. Thanks for coming. I'm Gordon Mong with Brad Charkis.
Adios.
Elaine Yee.
Bye, everyone.
And Adam will take us out.
Don't forget to buy your new iMac Pro this fall, starting at $6,000, $5,000. Anyway, thanks, guys.